Mr. Chairman, I yield myself such time as I may consume.
Gentleman's recognized.
This amendment would be a major change to the Insurrection Act first invoked by Thomas Jefferson more than 200 years ago. Under this amendment, a president would not be able to act quickly and decisively in the event of riots that are not being controlled at the state or municipal level. He would have to, along with the Secretary of Defense, certify certain findings to Congress and then consult with Congress. This would hinder and delay needed action to preserve domestic peace. Any military personnel then deployed would have burdensome restrictions placed upon them that would make them less effective in controlling violence and riots. It is ironic that we are considering this amendment on a day when we are honoring the life of Representative John Lewis, an icon in the civil rights movement whose passing I too mourn. You see, had this amendment been law during the 1950s and 60s, the progress of civil rights in this country would have been stifled. By being forced to consult with Congress, Presidents Eisenhower, Kennedy, and Johnson could have been blocked by a Senate majority that at the time was preventing all progress on civil rights. It's a matter of history. My uncle, Jim Lamborn, was a federal employee at Leavenworth Penitentiary in 1957 when he was deputized as a marshal and sent to Little Rock, Arkansas with many others so black children could go to integrated public schools. President Eisenhower had to oppose the Arkansas governor and act unilaterally to make this happen. If Eisenhower had had to oppose an obstructionist House or Senate also, it may have never happened. So looking at today's headlines, I would like to ask the sponsor of this amendment, in light of the violence and rioting in Seattle and Portland, which for whatever reasons are not being controlled by the mayors of those cities, would President Trump be justified to invoke the Insurrection Act as amended by this amendment? I yield to the member if she could answer this question.
Gentleman yields.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is not about when or whether a president utilizes the Insurrection Act. This is simply about consulting with Congress in the same way that we expect a president to consult with Congress.
Gentleman reclaims his time.
The gentlelady is not willing to answer this question. If she can't answer this question, then I don't think we have to take it seriously. I think it's a political gimmick. With that, I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman reserves. Gentleman from Texas.